Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Welcome to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. This is Loren Meadows from Gatorbait Media, filling in for Shane on this Monday. And on this Monday, we want to quickly recognize people that are very important to the Florida Gator family. And today we're going to do Mick Huber. A lot of you know Mick was a longtime announcer for the Gators, covered a great number of guys. And most interestingly, before Mick came to Florida, he was actually in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, with WHIO, which is now an ESPN affiliate. So, you know, this whole month, we've just been taking a look at some of the people that have meant the most to the Gator program. And, you know, Mick is definitely one of those guys. So today we're going to be joined by Gator great Ben Troupe, Florida, Georgia Hall of Famer, NFL veteran, and somebody that's just really jumped into the space, not only as an expert on Florida Gator football, but many topics, as an author and a friend. So we welcome to the show Ben Troupe. How you doing, Ben?
Loren, man, pleasure to be on with you, sir, man. We have made it another full off season. I don't know how listen, nowadays, I don't know how we make it with, you know, it seemed like news happened all the time, from breaking news here, you know, injuries there, you know, coaches added. But hey, man, we are officially week 0. We have made it.
I hear you, man, and it gets started early. I mean, we first thing we got the Aer Lingus Classic and the Green Owl with you know, you got to explain to me, how does Florida State and Georgia Tech go thousands of miles away from the South, where they could have played right there in Atlanta or somewhere, and now they're playing over an island. But should be a fun time.
It should be. I think now when it comes to college football, they're always trying to one up what the NFL does. You know, the NFL does their overseas branding. And I think for the college, I think sometimes, Loren, college players, college athletics don't know how big it is until you go overseas. And obviously, these are gonna be fresh Florida State, Georgia Tech jerseys. Now, these things fresh out the pack now. Ain't no Russell athletic jerseys being walked around. But I do think that it's a great experience for the student athlete, for the player, because I just think that sometimes when you get to talking about what these young men get to experience, everybody's not going pro, right? We in the NIL world, but hey, I can only imagine. You know, I don't know what the Tallahassee airport is not the same as Atlanta Jackson. I know that. So I don't know what type of plane that Florida State had. I'm pretty sure it was nice and big and comfortable. But I am happy for both teams. Like I say, with me being a former Florida Gator, obviously I have no ties to either squad, but I'm a fan of the player first, because every player goes through the same thing, whether you're a starter or a backup. And hey, week 0 is here. You know, listen, it's gonna be all eyes on the boys from Atlanta and Tallahassee for 1 week, and sometimes you're gonna get way more media than you should, because you're the only thing in town. You ain't in town, you ain't even in the States, but everybody's gonna be watching you. It's gonna be over analyzing every throw, every catch, every block. But I'm happy that we made it. College football, to me, has the best menu when you talk about what do I want to watch. That's why NFL will touch Monday night, they'll touch Sunday, they ain't touching Saturday. And the reason why they want it for this reason, hey, man, I mean, you know, I know that Detroit had a good year last year, but do I really want to see Detroit, Arizona? Or do I want to see Florida, LSU? That's an easy choice. But shout out to these college athletes. These are football players, they back in it. And something, Loren, something that Buddy always says, or, you know, friends, they'll say, Ben, college football is idiot-proof. All the stuff we talk about, when the games start, we don't care about none of it. So transfer portals, NILs, it'll take a back seat. Shout out to them, you know, Seminoles and them Georgia Tech boys. They get to entertain us for the first weekend.
Silverback Concrete. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. Once again, I'm your guest host, Loren Meadows of Gator Bait Media, here with Gator great Ben Troupe. And, at this time, Ben, I mean, you look at it now, we kind of circle back to the Florida Gators for a short minute, and they finished the second scrimmage this past weekend, kind of talk to just where we are, after that second scrimmage, it's kind of tree shaking time. You start to solidify the depth chart. Now we're about 2 weeks away from the matchup with Miami, less than 2 weeks. Where are these teams now? Explain, what's going on right now. You're moving in, guys moving into the dorms, kind of getting out the dorms for camp, back into the apartments, living lavish. But at this point, where are the Florida Gators?
Perception has become reality now, Loren. I mean, when you first get there, they trying to welcome the new guys, trying to get them acclimated in, trying to let them know that you're gonna be a part of this team. Now, now you get to know what role you're gonna play. Because I think the thing about a team like Florida, even Miami, both, everybody wants to be a part of this great thing called, Florida Gator football. But the closer you get to the season, the reps get scarcer. Because I got to get these starters some reps, right? If you're a backup, your reps ain't as plentiful as the starters, but they better be meaningful when you out there. Because the coaches go from, like they go from talking in private to you, they say it in front of the whole group now. Now that, I know when it comes to this Florida Gator team, it's going to be different because of the schedule. But what I like about them is I think they had a former Gator Day or something at this recent scrimmage. You had a bunch of former Gators there. There's a reason why former Gators stay away from the players, because we can't go out there and not turn into coaches ourselves. Hey, that's why you'll see us in a huddle with each other, kind of talking amongst each other, pointing and whispering, because once you've been out there, it's hard to not coach. But what I do like about this team now, I think, is people have accepted their role. What if a kid comes in 4 or 5 star, if LJ McCray comes in, top D lineman in the country, one of the top D linemen in the country. When he first gets here, he's still thinking about recruiting. It's like, look, man, I know you expecting to run out there first, LJ. That's not going to happen right now. Now, we'll throw you in with the ones so you can get a feel of a little bit different, huh? A little bit. The speed picks up, terminology picks up. But I do think that this Gator team is ready because they've had to learn trial under fire. Like, it's not like they had a silky smooth offseason. We dealing with, I've heard rumblings that Montreal is going to be fine. Now, until he puts on that one, I'm like you, Loren. Listen, I can see him on the bike and in the treadmill. I need him taking snaps. Now, and I get it. We still got a couple of weeks. If it's anybody you're going to take your time with, it is Montreal. So don't let me say, Coach, put him out there if he ain't ready. But from what I've heard from the scrimmages, very competitive. And the one thing that has stood out is the linebackers and the DBs. They say also really got them DBs like communicating on the back end. Devin, listen, I call it the law office of Moore and Marshall. If they could come together, because Devin Moore has been really good when he's been healthy, and this offensive line just finding a way to jail. Because it ain't gonna matter, Loren. We could talk about Graham Merce and we could talk about the newcomers, with DK and those guys. It ain't gonna matter. O-line got to establish a new line of scrimmage, and our D-line, even though we down a D-lineman, they got to reestablish. But I like what I'm hearing thus far.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about at this time, there are a lot of question marks, and you and I have talked about this a million times, and you talk about Asa Turner. I really think that one of the issues on defense last year was just a disconnect, a certain lack of communication at all 3 levels. And I think somebody like Asa Turner, who has over 20 starts in his college career, has played against some of the best quarterbacks in the country. I wrote about it. He's seen everybody from J.J. McCarthy to Jaden Daniels. He saw Quinn Ewers twice, has seen some of these guys, has seen Cam Ward. And just that experience alone is going to help heighten that defensive secondary. And then everything, kind of trickles down to the front 7. And I think that at this point, you add Ron Roberts, it looks like Will Harris and Gerald Chapman are in tow as well. And, if Florida just plays average defense, I think that they could be in a really good place. But, I think that that's something that is paramount at this time, because offensively, I don't think there's as many issues as people want to point to. I think they're extremely hard on Graham Mertz, and we can get to that here in a minute. But defensively, I think at this point, I mean, that's where the bread is right now.
Well, I think you just said it, Loren. I mean, it's never ever been about talent, right? It's always been execution. Because once again, and I hate to keep harping on it, the very first play of the 2023 season, every Florida Gator said, "What?" Like what? It's almost like the things that happen in Florida don't happen nowhere else. Like there's no way that could happen, right? If I'm Loren, if me and you, hey Loren, Troupe, get in there. Meadows and Troupe, y'all let's say the first play of the game, yeah, we're not even in the screen. I'm so far back, you don't even know it's 11 guys. You ain't throwing it over my head, right? This is just protecting yourself. I mean, I got to build confidence in secondary. Secondary players have a different mindset. Good pay, bad pay, they got to let it go. Really. I think for a guy like Asa, what he gets a chance to do is say, look, I don't got to be the most talented. The safety don't got to be the most talented player. He got to be the smartest. He got to be, because everything is in front of him. Sometimes he's getting people lined up on the snap. And get over. And what you said about Asa is he's surrounded by a bunch of young guys who just saw him on national television. Listen, my team was one of the last teams standing. So, and I'm in a part of the country that most people don't even know where it is. People say Pacific Northwest. Don't ask them young men about no geographic locations. Right. They got enough on their mind. But he came to Florida because the same reason why Graham Mertz did. I know what this could do for my resume. I know what playing in the SEC looks like. I know what it feels like going against Ewers and company, even though they weren't in the SEC then. And he has, Pup Howard. I mean, he's going to help a lot. Because, once again, if guys could just line up, you know how many times last year the snap and guys looking behind them, talking to guys, they snapped the ball already. That's why against Mizzou, they get a third and whatever it was, third, fourth, and forever, because guys are nervous. I says telling them guys, look, man, you want the ball to come your way every play, and you're going to make the play every time, but you can't do it. When you know what you're doing and you can execute, football is easy. I'm not saying you're going to win a lot of games, but if I know where I'm supposed to be, I go out there and do it. Jason Marshall, it's just so many, from the D-line to Asa to Pup to these youngins. I mean, Miles Graham. I mean, is he even going to be able to redshirt? He's been playing so well. But if our defense can play complementary football, we've gotten to the point we just want our defense to play complementary. That's how, if they can do that, I mean, who knows how many games, because you know how it is. That gauntlet is coming in first 6 weeks of the season. We'll decide a lot for the rest of the season.
We got a question on the Quality Plumbing YouTube hotline. Amy Sniper, which, it's kind of you got to think about this question. It says that she heard the offensive line didn't look very good, but then the linebackers didn't look very good as well. Now, both things in many ways in football cannot be true, because the offensive line couldn't look bad, and then the linebackers look bad as well. So, I don't know if you've heard anything. From everything that I've seen in practice, the offensive line is much improved. I think sliding Damian George down to right guard is his natural position. I think one day he'll get paid a lot of money to play that position on Sundays. And from what I've seen at the linebacker position, I mean, you talk about Pup Howard, you talk about a much bigger Shamar James, who looks really impressive. And then, like you said, you got the young bucks, Miles Graham and Aaron Childs. So I mean, there has to be an improvement. And Ben, you know this. I mean, when I was playing, and we both were playing, probably there were times we come out of the scrimmage and the defense was just so much further ahead of the offense, and especially early in the season, that's what happens. But I mean, I would tell people to kind of temper that for right now. And Greg Steele asked on the Facebook Meldon Law Facebook question, why did Pup leave South Carolina? I mean, think about it. I mean, South Carolina is one of the big question marks in the SEC, in my opinion. And Pup Howard is a Florida guy, and sometimes guys have to leave, I think, the nest to know what they're missing. And I think that at this point, Pup seems to be real happy here in Gainesville.
Yeah, to answer your first question, I mean, when you talk about the O-line, I think the thing about our O-line is people are just expecting them to make mistakes because of what they've seen in previous years. So anything that shows any resemblance of that, they're jumping on them. offensive line is 5 guys that literally have to be cohesive from the center to the guard to the tackle. And I've only heard good things as well. O-linemen, they have to hang out away from football. Hey, dude, we really got to know each other, dude. It ain't like the D-line the way we can run schemes and stunts. But 6 players do not come out the game. That's your quarterback and your O-line. They don't come out. Everybody else, they got backups. Everybody. And I can't agree with you more when you start talking about the linebackers. People say, why do Pup Howard leave? Because something about South Carolina wasn't suiting him. And sometimes you got to show these people, you don't think Florida want me? Oh, you don't think I'm good enough to go? So when he ends up here, he gets to look, not that it's an ego thing. Sometimes people think, hey, man, this is as good as it's going to get. I'm from Florida, G. Like I got recruited by them. And my level of play and, attractiveness had to be there for them to even want me. People just snatch people out the port. No, a lot goes into it. Pup is from Florida. That don't mean he's going to get recruited by Florida or gets to come here. But Pup is saying, look, 2 things. I'm from Florida and we get to play South Carolina. I want to deal with them dudes again. And from a defensive standpoint, even an offensive line standpoint, offensive line at Florida is going to be looked at way different. Right? But you talk about Damian Jordan coming over from Alabama. You don't think everybody in the country wanted this kid? He's coming from one of the bedrocks of college football. And I think that says a lot about the brand of Florida. People look at what we haven't done nationally, and I get it. The brand has not taken a hit. The team just hasn't won. The brand is still huge. You don't think Oklahoma and Texas say, man, I want some of that. What you mean? I mean, they'll say, what's the kid in Florida that only won 6 games and went number 4? You talking about Anthony Richardson? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which means had he won 9, 10 games, God forbid, representing the East, he goes number 1. Like, he won't go over Bryce Young. He only went 3 picks behind him. So I think what the Florida defense and Pup and guys like Shamar, those guys, they don't deserve, because I don't like to use that word, Loren. They want to know what it's like when Florida's rocking. Because that's what they hear about. Man, listen, bro. When Florida is rocking, when we good, it's totally different. They keep hearing about it, and everybody wants to be a part of that. Everybody wants to be a part of that. Hey, man, I want to be a part of the turnaround. I want to be a part of that. Hey, this is where we were. This is where we going. And people going to always say, you was a part of that team. Yeah, so, and yeah, I know we ain't played no games yet. I know it's all, speculation now. But when we got people asking about our offensive line, I think you looking for them to make a mistake. It's almost like if they play well, you go, well, wait till the next game. Listen, Florida Gator Nation, let's not be our own worst enemy. Don't be looking for them to make – they're going to make mistakes. They're old linemen. They got to block some of the best, pass rushers in the country week in and week out. But Steve Harris, former teammate, I heard him talking about going to the scrimmage, and he said the only difference that he sees is this. Players got to police players. When you coming off the field, I don't care if I'm a young guy. One, I need to be locked into the practice. I need to know what the play is, down the distance is. And if a player, I'm their blind spot. Hey man, listen, when you pass blocking, you kind of turning your shoulders a little bit. That's taking my ego, putting it to the side if I'm being, policed. And I want to be good. I want to be a good player, especially because think about it. If the starter can't take feedback from a teammate and then the starter gets hurt, you think I'm going to listen to him? He ain't listening to me. Why? Because I'm 18 and he's 21? No, they got to be able to police each other, because when you play a lead, you know this, Loren, got a shot to be real, real good.
Tropical Smoothie. Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical Smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Kind of going back to, the offensive line a little bit. I think, we want to take a look at, I think sometime, like you said, yes, the offensive line gave up over 30 sacks a season ago. But I guess my question is, I point to people my statement is, I point to someone like an Osiris Torrance. Mm-hmm. I think people forget that the year before, I think Florida may have been 3rd in the SEC in sacks under Rob Sale. And so, my thing has always been that Rob Sale is a good offensive line coach. I really believe that. And somebody that I think that, you you get in a situation, like you said, where you start looking at things, you're almost looking for the negatives. But I think that this group, you look at the 5=1 hats that they've been wearing and things like that. I think this might be the most cohesive group that the Gators have ever had. Now, with that said, are there going to be bumps in the road? Sure. You're working in, I mean, Jake Slaughter started 8 games at center, but he's still new. It's finally his show. He's not looking over his shoulder, seeing when Kingsley is going to be healthy and those kind of things. So it's at that point where you say, okay, now how does this fit to the bigger picture? And yes, you might have given up a bunch of sacks, but you also have the SEC's leading returning rusher coming back. So even last year with the struggles, they did some good things. So I think it's one of those things that instead of picking out individual pieces, look at the total 22 and that the roster is better. And does that mean they're going to go out and win 9 games? That's kind of the question sometimes is, and that's what may be frustrating, but the roster is improved and they really do have a great group of coaches, I think, in that inside that building.
They do. And let's face it, this time last year, Loren, what was everybody talking about? How's the passing game going to look? Because you already knew what you had in Montreal before Graham even got here. You already knew what you had. When you try to develop the passing game, that's going to come down to, are we going to have a quick game? We're going to try to push it. We're going to have an intermediate game. We're going to try to push the ball down the field. No, they didn't know how good Graham Mertz really was. I believe it. They didn't know, hey, man, this dude could push the ball. Now, you telling the O-line, hold on, man. Are we going to be run heavy, pass heavy, or are we going to be balanced? Sometimes we look very run heavy. Sometimes we look very pass heavy. That's not really a balance. But because this year we know, hey, man, we got a solid run attack. And I know we'll get to Montreal. When it comes to the passing game, you build confidence when your quarterback is not getting him off the ground. And I'm going to tell the O-lineman this. If he is on the ground, y'all have to pick him up. You can't just run down the field. That's the part. It's the little things. Pick him up off the ground. Now, listen, I mean, for these youngers don't know, if you got the Byron Leftwich, if you got to pick him up and run him down the field when he was with Marshall, do that, But I just think that for this O-line, it's a pride thing for them. Because you know how it is, Loren. You come into a system, you ain't had nothing to do with previous years, but they're going to put it on you. Man, what's wrong? They're going to say, y'all going to block better this year? Slaughter like, man, I just got to this position that I don't have to look over my shoulder. George just got here. But look, man, if you want the legacy, you got to take the bitter with the sweet. And I do think these guys, it's a different pride level in the O-line room. Them O-line coaches, they like, look, fellas, when y'all give all that cute stuff, Graham and all the running backs, tight ends, receivers, newcomers, if we don't do our job, it don't matter. It don't and I think they will, but I would tell onlookers, lovers of Florida, if a sack does happen, guess what? Everybody gets sacked. Carson Beck gets sacked, Quinn Ewers gets sacked, right? Shadur Sanders gets sacked. But when they do it, it's, oh, man, that's just a breakdown. That's just a breakdown. No, 30 sacks is, Graham Mertz has definitely dealt with a lot coming off injury this year. When 15 is upright, we got a shot every single game because forget making every throw. He ain't afraid to make it. He's willing to put it in there. And he plays like an NFL quarterback. Listen, man, sometimes I got to take that. That 300 pounds is barreling down on me, but he just came open. So, they find a way to keep him upright, which I think they will, and we don't even talk about how good I think Austin Barber's. I think he's going to be really, really good. Give him a shot. We got transfers on the line. We got guys that's been there. But like I say, guys from Alabama that leave Alabama, they usually was 5 stars when they got there. And they get to pick where they want to go. I'm going to say this. It's not who you get in the portal. It's if you get who you wanted. They got who they wanted. They didn't settle for anybody, but yeah, I think the O-line is going to be really, really good this year.
Well, Amy Sniper on the Quality Plumbing YouTube question live said that Napier is married to Sale. It'll be his downfall in the end. I think, it's funny. The offensive line coach won't be the reason that
no, if your O-line coach is the reason why you lost your job, it's something that went up. Listen to me. Listen, number one, Coach Sale is a good coach. You know, it's just like Coach Gonzalez. People like, oh, they're gonna break. No, these coaches are really the reason why it's hard to find them, because if they hit the street, they go on that somebody snatched them. Like, these are good. You can't. Osiris Torrance was the best guard in the country. Not. I mean, in college football, he was the best guard. He didn't. We talk about sacks. It wasn't him. It wasn't interior pressure. But people forget the man has a brick. But we forget that, because once again, Loren, we let the box scores and the whole game make us think they ain't play well. I'm like, you sure? Yeah. Well, when we talk about a couple of plays away, yeah. What do the O-line got to do with our defense getting lined up? What about 4th and 20 something? These are the things we forget about, because they say the offensive line. Who's the leading rusher returning the NC? Oh, his name is Montreal. I mean, we got guys coming from Arizona State. Didn't we just have a guy from Arizona State? Yeah. So we got the guys. I just think for O-linemen, that's why they are the way they are. They don't get none of the credit. All the blame now. They will get all the blame. Listen, man, y'all O-linemen, y'all just keep going to Sonny's with my homeboy Shannon Snell. Y'all eat all the, pork. Y'all eat on Thursday. Fellowship. Because while we know what we're looking at, we don't know how it's supposed to actually be. We don't know if, was that supposed to be a double team? Was that supposed to be a combo? We just see somebody. I said, well, those guys in front of them, they're pretty good too. I mean, them D linemen, they can get off blocks, but God forbid we give up a sack or Graham Mertz have to improvise. We're going to do the whole here we go again. But then when we win the game, we cuss them out during the game and love on them after. Come on, man, we got to be better than that. It's going to be all right.
Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com and join us on Friday for our Peachland Dentistry JC and the QB weekend picks, which will be coming up this weekend. It's funny. So kind of pivoting a little bit as far as the Gators are concerned, kind of getting off the offensive line a little bit. I think that is this a lot of people, and I wrote about this in my article last night, 7 reasons why Florida will win at least 7 games. And one of the things that I pointed to is, and continues to be, Billy Napier. And not necessarily Napier from the standpoint of what we see on the outside, but what those in the program see on the inside. And what I mean by that is, you talk to people inside the program, people that know Billy Napier, wives of coaches, parents of players, and almost to a person, they are certain that Billy Napier is the person to carry this thing, over the hill and to get Florida back where a lot of Florida fans expect. Just speak to that, Ben, because you've been in the trenches. Like you said, you're very close to a lot of guys that played, guys that have kids on the team, things like that. What are you hearing as far as, the people that are actually hunkered down around this football team?
They love the fact that he's authentic. I think the thing about Billy Napier that goes unnoticed, this a couple of years back when I'm interviewing Anthony Richardson, he said, I can text coach and he'll call me back. I said, what coach? Oh, the head man. Stop playing. He was like, no. Like people don't understand. A head coach has zero free time. None. Zero. For him to go out of his way to make sure the players know, look, man, all y'all are important. Now, your level, your role on this team is different, because Loren, just like I know, you go from wanting to play for yourself to wanting to play for your team to, I want to win for my coach, man. Because that's the only way I can show people the type of no one. Listen, do people really care about how he is as a person? No, but when you win, he'll get a special. Hey man, let's sit down, let's talk. That's how it goes. But for me, what I hear about Billy Napier is he really cares about former players. D Webb told me, man, I go on the field, he knows what's up, D. Like those type of things matter, because and I'm not talking about former coaches. A lot of coaches talk about former players. A lot of coaches talk about the brotherhood. They don't put it to action. What I hear about Billy Napier is to say, look, man, the wins ain't justified him yet. We get it. Bottom line is the public perception, we got to win. But what I hear from the players is, even Graham Mertz, when I sat down with him, man, they light up when you say, tell me about, oh man, the fact that I didn't know the importance of knowing everybody on the staff, everybody on the team, the equipment people, the trainers. I know everybody because they said Billy Napier said, look, you need to know what really make this train go. Don't think it's just, your equipment. And so I like the fact that I haven't met him in person yet, but it feels like I have, because no one knows what it's like to be a head coach of Florida, but former head coach of Florida. None of us really know what it's like for him to go in he tell his secretary, I just want to walk in this office, give me 10 minutes. I ain't gonna take no calls. Just because it's the seat hot at Florida. Yeah, not because of the season, because it's the seat of Florida. It's gonna be hot because Coach Spurrier, not only is he in the building, he got a restaurant. That's what we recruit at. Urban Meyer's probably still got a house down there. Because at Florida, when you win, the world, especially the state of Florida, do what you want, sir. I think, for what I've heard, Loren, he's a good man that coaches. That's what I hear. And that's what I like. Because most of the time, you don't get a chance to be a good man. I'm trying to win games. I'm trying to boost my resume. That way, if I don't make it here, my future is fine. I think for Billy Napier, he's saying, look, dude, I want this, man. And he can't say it. Ron Zook was blunt. Like, if Billy Napier was blunt like Ron Zook, man, I'm here to be the best coach in the world. He was saying, I think now, it's Ron Zook is like the Super Bowl coach. You ask him, coach, who you think gonna win? Who you think what? Us. I don't think Billy Napier can do that. He has to say it and hope you don't figure out he's saying it. But I'm like you, Loren. Look, 7, 8 wins, and God forbid, 9 with this schedule. If he think expectations are crazy now, you win 8 now with DJ Lagway coming, and I've seen these legacy players keep pouring in, at Cornelius Ingram's son. If you're listening, you can play football and basketball, young man. I'm just telling you, you can play football and basketball. We're gonna let you hoop. I'm just saying.
We'll get to that. Let's get to a break. And,
let me not play recruit on this call. Shane, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I just know.
Nah, you good. Let's get to a break, and we'll come back. You're with Pot Up with Shane Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45. Our touchdown sponsors, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to Pot Up in the Morning with Shane Matthews. I'm your guest host, Loren Meadows with Gator Bait Media, here with Ben Troupe. And we got a comment here on the Facebook, Meldon Law Facebook questions. Can Ben replace Buddy Martin on the show going forward? Buddy's segments have gotten boring and he doesn't seem to be with it anymore. Buddy Biden. Okay, I'm gonna put this out there and then I'm done with it. We don't play that. We don't play that with Buddy. We definitely don't play that with Buddy Martin. Buddy Martin is a national treasure, a Florida treasure. You need to do your homework on Buddy Martin. He's somebody that myself nor Ben would be in this space without Buddy Martin. And not only that, Buddy Martin is a friend, a family member, a father figure, somebody that if without Buddy Martin, the Meadows family would not be thriving in Gainesville the way that they have. So, I read that because there's a lot of people on here that love that man and have been helped by that man and consider that man family. And, I knew his lovely wife. I know his wife now, his family. I mean, it just, for somebody, I mean, just on the merits alone is one thing, but as a person, that in itself is another. So, I'm gonna leave it at that and go on from that. But when you get asked to do certain things like that, and I apologize to Shane if I'm out of pocket, but I just feel like my principles won't allow me to let someone, down someone that we just consider family. So we're all in this together, Pod Up, the Buddy Martin show, we on each other's shows and things like that. So that's where I am with that. Ruse Ogra State Farm office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ograinsurance.com or call us at 352-240-1779. So, Ben, let me see if you know this trivia question. There are 3 ACC schools playing this weekend in week 0. Do you know, we already touched on 2 of them. Who's the third?
3 ACC teams playing this weekend. Obviously, we got Georgia Tech. Obviously, we got Florida State. Who's the third? A third one playing this weekend? We playing the boys next weekend. Let me see who would. It ain't Clemson, because Clemson got Georgia next weekend. Who my third this weekend?
SMU.
Stop playing with me.
So which brings me to my question. Where are you on this realignment? I mean, we got, you and I, I'm a little older, but Big Ten was where they grew corn and and all that stuff. The Pac-10, Pac-12 was where they surfed and did all that. The Big 8, the Big 12, that's middle America. But now you got these things going back and forth nowadays. And I mean, where are we? I mean, you're going to have USC playing Michigan and Ohio State, going to Penn State, going to Rutgers, and SMU is in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So, I mean, California is in Atlantic.
Yeah.
So where are we at now?
As far as like college football, I love it. As far as like geographic location, I'm confused, and I should be, because I think what happens is the importance of football in the southeastern region of the country. It shows you how attractive it is, because people kept saying, "Hey man, what is the ACC gonna do?" Well, number one, I don't know what's going on with Clemson and Florida State right now. I know they buying in, buying out, whatever they're trying to do. They said, hey, we got to get some more teams. So we got to add some. And the ACC, even the Big Ten and all these, I don't even know what the Pac-12 is. I don't even know what that is anymore. I think they down to 2 teams. Do y'all just play each other every year for the Pac-12 championship? Say we're going to be in the college football play? I don't know, but I just think that the importance of college football has shown the world, look, man, we're trying to be a part of this football where everybody watches. Meaning, listen, the 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Easterns, East Coast games, everybody, they want to see those. I remember, no longer are the days, though, Loren, I remember when Reggie Bush and those guys were in college.
Right.
They used to say, hey, man, that's when ABC had the big game. They showing them guys. Now, the only reason you watching SC is when they had Caleb Williams. You only watching Colorado because they got Deion and Shadur. Because you don't talk about Jackson State no more. So now is the brand at the school big enough to make me want to watch, or is the brand big enough that they willing to? Because some of these games gonna be rough. I don't know. Listen, to those who've never been on a West Coast flight. So now, you got California teams got to play East Coast teams at 1:00 Eastern time. They family in the bed. they like, what? The game's on. So it's crazy to me. But when Emmitt Smith, going into my senior year at the spring game, Emmitt Smith got his jersey retired. And he was in the locker room telling us, take a good look at college football, because but listen, the one you know and love, and this is back when Texas A&M, who's that other squad over there? Mizzou wasn't even in the SEC. They wasn't even in it then. But it's going to be crazy, Loren. And Loren, buckle up, because it's only going to get crazier. And I'm going to tell you why. Texas and Oklahoma, people don't like the fact that Greg Sankey got them. Don't think that people are applauding. You're going to take the biggest brands from the Big 12, you're going to bring them over to the SEC, which means now we're going to be taking credit for Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. They wasn't even in the SEC. Jalen, you know we do that, right? Yeah, they did it. They're going to go from saying, no, so it's wild, but I do appreciate the fact that the SMUs of the world, for those of you who don't know, y'all talk about NIL, y'all might want to go back in the day. Eric Dickerson and them boys was doing it big back then at SMU. Now, ACC with, Mustangs or whatever they had. But I do love it, though. I love it for the players because you know how it is, Loren. Who you play matters. When you play matters even more. So if we can see SMU playing Miami or Clemson or Florida State, during the time that everybody's watching, I said, man, who are these? Man, that's Texas. Texas got enough teams to field college football. But I am happy for the players, though, because I think sometimes these ADs don't get enough credit. These chancellors or commissioners don't get enough credit for trying to align their teams. And this goes back to COVID, people. The only conference that stuck with the plan from the start to finish was the SEC. Everybody else, they Pac-12 bouncing off, Big 12 bouncing out. But I am happy for the players, though. It's just that everybody think they want to play these teams in the South that get good weather year-round until – yeah, it get hot in Texas. It get real hot in Florida. It get hot in Texas now. So we'll see. But them SMU boys in the ACC is like, at least are they gonna abide by the terms of the contract? Because Notre Dame don't. Notre Dame in the ACC, but Notre Dame said, I'm not playing no ACC. I'm not going to Charlotte. We do our regular season and we go home. We got touchdown Jesus. Who gonna stop us? Coach Freeman and them say, no, we ain't doing it. We ain't doing it.
QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics today. And we appreciate that on the YouTube quality plumbing question. We need more Buddy Martins in the world. Barone 71, we appreciate it. And then on the Facebook, Meldon Law Facebook question, this question is, I guess, to both of us, but to me, Loren, who gets more snaps this season? DJ Lagway or Arch Manning? I'm gonna say Arch Manning, actually, but and not because DJ Lagway has done anything wrong. I just think that Texas actually may be in some games where might be a little bit more. I mean, Florida's gonna have to do some clawing and scratching, and like Napier said, when you take 15 off, you got to bring 2 on. You got to take 15 off, and I just think Graham Mertz is far more in control of the offense than to take him off the field. They may do some wrinkle things like that, but other than that, I would say Arch Manning. What about you?
Yeah, I would say Arch Manning for perception reasons. I mean, you're trying to do all you can to make sure the young man stays a Longhorn. I mean, he wasn't even a true backup last year, and all of a sudden in the college football playoff, he goes from 3 to 2 just in case Jewers get hurt. We got a Manning on national TV that's not wearing creamsicle orange or whatever the colors, red and blue up there in Ole Miss. DJ Lagway, to me, doesn't have to be on the field because the more he can see the game, the better he's going to play. And there isn't a quarterback controversy at Florida like it is, I think at Texas, even though Ewers is the guy. You want him, it's going to hurt them bad if Manning leaves. I mean, let me say, and this ain't gonna happen. It would hurt Florida bad. The DJ Lagway left, which I don't think either one is gonna leave. But yeah, 15. If Lagway is in the game, it's because the game has been won, and you want to get him some quality snaps. You want to let a young man see what it takes to play at this level. You got a great mentor in Graham Mertz, a guy who's, about as good as you. What he had with 2 or 3 picks last year, 20. Man, what are we talk about Graham Mertz like he all right? No, he's not. He's incredibly good. And I don't get it.
And what I call no trick 'em picks. I mean, all 3 picks were like tip balls and things like that. No, I didn't see that flat defender. I didn't see that curl defender. Somebody robbed him, in the cover 3, or, nobody Tampa-2'd him or anything like that, where he was throwing balls down the middle and didn't see the mic, filling the hole. So, I mean, even that. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things where, I mean, as we go, we'll finish up with that. But as we go, people are going to really start to see his command over the entire offense. I mean, it just, Campus USA, this is, we'll do that in a minute. But Florida Victorious joined today to help make Florida victorious. Florida victorious is a major part of what Florida Gator Athletics is doing. So join today to help make Florida victorious. So Greg Steele asked on the Meldon Law Facebook question. So Ben is saying Florida's still not blowing out many teams this year.
I'm not saying that. I mean, the schedule, if we are blowing out teams, that means that Florida's better than we thought, and those teams aren't as good as we thought. But blowouts or not, sometimes, if the game is in the fourth quarter and we up by a couple of touchdowns, and it's we think we got this. You put Lagway in, but I don't necessarily need to see the blowouts, because this is what people don't say. If Florida's blowing teams out, Florida ain't gonna get the credit for blowing them out. They ain't that good. That team they playing just ain't. I want Lagway to get in there so he can feel it. Like you can't nobody touch you in practice. You got to get out there and feel it. And when I say feel it, I want him, as soon as he let the ball go, that D lineman is touching him, not hitting him. That boy. People don't get 1.2 seconds to throwing passes over 2 seconds. You're gonna get hit. If they can run 4.4 in 4 seconds, what do you think they can do in 2 seconds? Almost 2 seconds. So for me, I needed to feel it. You get out there, and I'm trying to block somebody, and I can feel his strength. And I look to the sideline. All I can see is Rob Glass. See why I'm trying to get you to. I'm not trying to get you to lift weights so you look good with your shirt off. I'm trying to get you to lift weights so you can survive out there. Them grown men out there. Have you seen LJ McCray? Do he look like he 18? That's an 18. DJ Lagway don't look his age. So I think for me, I just want DJ to get out there and see. And the greatest thing I love about the young man is he's saying the right things, doing the right things. And he ain't coming in here to take – listen, he ain't coming here to take Graham's spot. He said, no, that's Graham's, man. Like, this true freshman starting in college football, yeah, you got some rare gems. But I don't want him to be beat up by the time he's ready to play. I want him to be ready. So, no, I do hope we get some blowouts, and I hope it's not against teams that's – I hope it's against teams like UCF, Florida State, Tennessee, but I want DJ to not want to go out there because he DJ. I want him to go out there because it's his time, and 2024 is not his time.
Yeah, no doubt. A couple more things I want to touch on. First is Dan Bond on the Meldon Law Facebook question says that he'd like to see more turnovers this year. I think everybody would. And I think that's about. If you're playing average defense, you're getting, at least you're meeting the turnover margin in the middle, if you know what I mean. And the other thing I want to touch on, and David Hunter said earlier, which kind of speaks to what the state of Texas moving their brand to the East, is that SMU basically paid their own fare to join the ACC. They basically said, we won't take any revenue, I think, for 2 years before they join. So, something, I mean, that speaks to not just, Texas, and you already have Texas A&M, but SMU coming to the ACC, at least from a financial standpoint, is helping the ACC. And obviously that's it basically comes down to money. But before we go, and this is something that I really want you to speak on, a lot has been made. When you talk about Graham Mertz, I think with the dinking and ducking is what people think they, and from an X and O standpoint, being you played the tight end position, you've been around a number of different offenses. But I think sometimes people think that you just gonna just step back and throw the ball as deep as you can. A lot goes into that when you're talking about the big play and things like that. Like Nat says, we got to see tackles made, not missed. I mean, there's, like you said, there's 22, there's two sides of the ball, really three when you talk about special teams that need to be improved. But the biggest gripe that I hear more than anything is that Florida does not have the explosive plays. And my comment to that has always been, well, that free safety, he's on the opposing free safety, he's on scholarship too. And his job is not to get, and good safeties don't get the ball thrown over their head. Good DBs don't get the ball thrown over their head. And because Florida does have some explosiveness and had some explosiveness at the receiver position, teams are not going to let you run past them. So speak to that, please.
Graham Mertz does not get enough credit for how incredible. Listen, he is a football player first. How do I know? He comes over and it's already up. There it is. There go our weakest link. If I said, hey, man, 29, if I said I'm going to give you 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks, yeah. Most coaches would take that that's him in 2023. That's his stats. That's getting sacked 30 times. That's not how many times he got hit. That's in a new system that everybody thought was going to be too much for him. That's with a bunch of receivers that had no, outside of Ricky Pearsall, we ain't have nobody. No, that's a guy that's taking care of the football. Ball security is his number one thing. Now, when you talk about Graham Mertz as a leader, he's that. We was waiting. Remember how we talked about the O-line when we first started, Loren? We was waiting on Graham Mertz to be the weak link to justify this perception we had, and he wasn't. When he was in the game, the offense was clicking. And when I say clicking with a quarterback, I'm not talking about running the ball. That's him handing it off. That's the O-line. I'm talking about getting guys lined up, getting the ball to the right guy. Because Ricky Pearsall did not have 2,900 yards receiving. He didn't throw it to just one guy. Now, this is a full year under his belt. You've added some key pieces at the receiver position with guys coming back. The tight end's gonna get involved. All our running backs got to pick, and I'm not talking about Montreal and Trey. I'm talking about Jacoby and those guys. Pass protection. They're gonna have to see them linebackers because for Florida, they're gonna blitz them because the reason why you blitz a good quarterback is I want the young guy to come in. I want to get the veteran out. I love Graham Mertz because I think he's a guy that didn't want to come to Florida just to boost his resume. He said, man, I want to be the best, one of the best quarterbacks come through here. And Loren, you see what I see. If he didn't have the ability to throw downfield, he was a hell of a quarterback there. If he put up those type of numbers and didn't push the ball, I mean, because people say, well, what did the top quarterbacks had what? 3,800, maybe 4,000. They ain't winning. That's them Big 12, throw the ball around the yard. 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks in the SEC. Ask Anthony Richardson if he would have wanted that. Ask Felipe Franks if he would have wanted that. Ask any quarterback came through Florida. And, man, you're going to throw 20. Because we need to get past these Joe Burrows or the people they throwing 58 touchdowns. Or when Kyle Trask had 43. Dude, that's crazy. Like, that's a great year, but does it equate to wins? So for me, we didn't win a lot of games. It wasn't because of 1-5. 1-5, that South Carolina game was the way everybody knew. Hey, man, can you make the throw when everybody knew? Everybody knew he's going to Pearsall. That safety knew it. That corner knew it. They don't matter. Game over. Right? Game over. I like the fact that we got 1-5. I think that what he does really, really well is he doesn't pull no punches. He knows that. He told me, Ben, we are what our record says that we ain't going to sneak up on nobody. I said, you don't want to sneak up on them. Knock on the front door. Let them see it's you and punch him in their face. Open up the door, punch him in their face, and do it over and over. Because if you give him 29-3 in year one in the system with, quote, no help, can't push it. Okay, tell Wilson that. Tell DK that. Tell Badger that. Tell Khalil Jackson that. Tell Burke that. Man, are y'all crazy? I'm trying to tell you, we talked about complementary defense. If the running game, which is going to be our strength, opens up for the passing games, look, that becomes 30-6 30 touchdowns, 6 picks. And people say, why you need 6? Picks don't mean that you're a bad quarterback. That means you got to trust it sometimes. Sometimes that DB going to make a play. Hello? They're going to make plays. Now, long as they, listen, how do I know he's a good quarterback? He don't got double-digit picks. Double-digit picks is too many, right? Just like double-digit sacks make you elite, double-digit picks make you average at quarterback. I don't care who you are. That man had 3. Listen to me. 3. What are we talking about? And like you said, these are tipped. Man, Florida Gator fans, I love y'all, but we need to calm down. Because the biggest off-season decision, Graham Mertz coming back. I don't care who else we get. I love Will Harris. I love Big George. I love LJ McCray. I love DJ Lagway. Need a quarterback. Because what do every good team in football got in common? Good quarterback play. We got good quarterback play. Graham, stay healthy out there. But I'm like you, Loren. I don't know what people are saying. Graham got to play better. I'm like, what? Because stop comparing him to what you see, right? Man, 2,900 yards in the SEC, man, first year. I don't know, man. Maybe I just don't know what I'm looking at. I got to talk to my kids, ask them what should they be looking at, because I thought he had a great year last year, and so hey, we'll see what happens in 2024.
Yeah, all right. So this day, appreciate it, Ben. This day in sports history, brought to you by Campus USA. In 1951, Bill Veeck of the St. Louis Browns sends Eddie Gaedel, a 3'7" little person, to pinch hit for the team. He walked in 4 pitches. So that is this day in history, brought to you by Campus USA. Ben, I really appreciate it. It's been great, man. I'm sure people enjoyed you, and I appreciate you being on. This is Loren Meadows with Gator Bait Media for Pot Up with